Tropical cyclone Winston intensifies. Authorities look into flooding. And recruitment of permanent secretaries continue. Good evening, you're watching Fiji One News. Tropical cyclone Winston is expected to gradually turn northeastwards or towards southern Lao group in the next 24 to 48 hours. Director Meteorology Ravind Kumar says while the cyclone will not have a direct impact on the country, there is a high probability the system will move close and affect the southern Lao group. It is a Category 4 system at the moment.
Tropical cyclone Winston, we see that it is a compact system. It has intensified overnight into a Category 4 system, and it is going to maintain the intensity for next 24 to 48 hours. After that, it is expected to become a Category 3 system, and as we see, it is going to come southeastwards, gradually turn to east, and then start moving northeastwards, heading towards southern Lao group.
Kumar says the country will face occasional heavy showers and people should be prepared for that.
The rain bands is going to affect from the west, and we'll have some breaks. As the system grows closer to the country, we'll see that more rain bands will come. Isolated heavy falls is likely to be embedded within those rain bands. The probability of or the chances of flooding with those bands is there, and we advise the members of the public, especially those living in the low-lying areas, to take precautions.
Diverting the river that runs through Rakiraki town is an option government will consider in the long term. Commissioner Western Manasa Tangidakimbao toured flood-prone areas and spoke to stakeholders in Rakiraki yesterday to find out what can be done to stop flooding in the town.
About 40 businessmen and heads of government departments in Rakiraki met the Commissioner Western to express their views on the issue. Manasa Tangidakimbao came here in light of this week's flooding that closed the town and several roads in Rakiraki after heavy rain. The Commissioner Western said he was looking for short and long-term solutions to stop flooding in the town area. And this meeting was able to pinpoint some problems.
What was discovered was there were many logs from the deforestation upstream still lying in the riverways. A lot of silt that are here, a lot of debris that is causing blockages.
In addition to this, the Commissioner Western was also given another reason that forces flood from this river into the town.
So identified that the river banks, the right river bank is higher than due to the development done over the years. The river bank is higher than the left bank, and the town is located on the left bank. So when the river rises, automatically the right bank pushes the water over the left bank and it spills into town.
Some 60 years ago, a natural waterway was closed to accommodate for sugarcane farming and a new river was cut through the town. Government will now consider diverting the town river through where it was 6 decades ago.
Diversion, if it's reopened, first it was a natural waterway, a river was there before. And when if river diversion is constructed over that natural causeway, it will ease the flow of the river in the Wailaka River.
The Commissioner Western said he was instructed by the Prime Minister to urgently address the flooding issue in Rakiraki. Haliteshtat, Fiji One News.
A 22-year-old man from Tavyuni is the latest victim on our roads. The vehicle in which the deceased was travelling in veered off the road and fell down a cliff. The incident occurred around 10 p.m. in Dromoninuku, Tavyuni. The driver of the vehicle fled the scene after the incident. Hunt for the driver continues. And in another incident, a 29-year-old taxi driver and 3 passengers are currently admitted at the CWM hospital after they were involved in an accident yesterday. The accident occurred at the junction of Omkar Road, where a private car allegedly veered off his lane and hit a car on the opposite lane. Another taxi was stationary at the same junction, about to make a right turn when the private car came from behind, trying to overtake the taxi, veered to the opposite lane, hitting the taxi on the opposite lane. All passengers and drivers of the two vehicles were rushed to hospital. The 29-year-old driver of the taxi remains admitted at CWM Hospital with the 3 other passengers. The driver of the private car is expected to be questioned soon. And still to come tonight, United States to continue assisting communities affected by climate change. Welcome back. The Public Service Commission is in the process of conducting interviews for the remaining permanent secretaries. The remaining 4 are the permanent secretaries for the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Industrial Relations and Labour, and the Ministry of Civil Service.
Of the 16 permanent secretaries appointed by the Public Service Commission last month, 12 are now in office. A statement from the Public Service Commission Chairman Vishnu Mohan says that for the remaining 4 permanent secretaries, the Commission is currently in the process of conducting interviews. The 4 yet to begin official duties are the permanent secretaries for the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Industrial Relations and Labour, and the Ministry of Civil Service. The statement clarifies that Joshua Wycliffe, the Permanent Secretary of Local Government and Housing, is to begin next Monday. Paul Bailey, Permanent Secretary for Infrastructure and Transport, on the 17th of February. Permanent Secretary for the Office of the Prime Minister, Yogesh Karan, to start on the 1st of March. And the PS for Agriculture and Sugar, Jitendra Singh, is to begin on the 21st of March. While awaiting the commencement of official duties by these 4 permanent secretaries, PSC has made acting appointments in their respective ministries. Gwen Magoon, Fiji One News.
Climate change support by the U.S. government will continue for local communities affected. The support will help affected communities adapt and become more resilient in the face of climate change.
Addressing the issue of climate change is a major priority for the U.S. government.
One of the things I'm particularly proud of is the work that my embassy team and I have done in cooperation with Fiji and other Pacific partners to work together to tackle the problem of climate change. That's been a very high priority for I think all our governments and our people. And we've done a lot through our consultation to prepare the way for the really landmark agreement that came out of the Paris climate change talks. It was a really important historic agreement, and it does set the stage for the world to tackle the problem of climate change, to go to a low-carbon economy, and to start to reverse the effects of global warming.
The U.S. Agency for International Development has 10 new programs valued at about $66 million.
One of the programs is a program called Coastal Community Adaptation Program, and there are 10 communities in Fiji where currently we're working to help them become more resilient. In fact, just last week I had the chance to go to one community. It's the village of Vuni Savisavi in Vanuatu, and there we inaugurated a project that USAID worked together with Habitat for Humanity to help build some new homes that were further away from the shoreline so that they wouldn't face flooding given the sea level rise. And also they helped reinforce some other houses to make them more climate proof.
The climate change project, recently unveiled in Vuni Savisavi in Vanuatu, has been welcomed by the villagers.
Almost half of the village is covered with sand, and we are living with fear because we've come to realize that we are being affected by climate change. Before we didn't know that it is the effect of that.
Climate change support will continue for communities affected to adapt and become more resilient in the face of climate change this year. Sofia Koritano, Fiji One News.
The New Zealand Immigration Service has acknowledged it continues to face delays in processing of visas at its Fiji office. In a public notice, Immigration New Zealand says that as at 8th February, the office is still deciding 68% of all temporary applications that were lodged on 18th January. The delays are a result of the large number of applications received prior to the Christmas peak cutoff date of 24th November last year. Immigration New Zealand says under normal circumstances, if there were no complications arising, applicants can expect a case officer to be assigned within 1 to 2 working days. The office apologizes for the inconvenience these delays are causing and urge customers to lodge their applications well in advance of the normal 25-day processing timeframes. Ahead in sport, Fiji futsal team fails to register a win in Oceania Championship.